This lesson, we're going to do a quick overview of the internet and how it relates to HTML and how you actually get web content and that's visible within your browser. So first you open up your computer, go to the browser, which connects to the internet through your internet service provider, and it looks up your internet service provider, then goes over to the internet, hitting the internet backbone, connecting with the server via IP address. And then from the server, the files get returned back again through the internet backbone, back to your internet service provider, and then finally back to your browser for you to be able to view and digest, showing the files that are being returned back from the server. So every computer connecting to the internet has what's known as an IP address. And if you want to check the IP address of any website, you can go over to dnschecker.org, type in the web address, and it will return back the IP address of the website or whatever website you've placed into the IP checker. And if you want, you can pause the video here, head on over and try it out for yourself. By definition, your computer that's connecting to the internet is known as the client, and then the server or the computer that you're connecting to is known as the server, and that's the one that houses all of the files that get returned back through the internet. You can also see all of the web code, the HTML that's behind web pages, by opening up the website in the browser and clicking View Source. You can do this on a Windows machine by Control-U, and on a Mac by doing Command-Option-U, and that will open up the source code of any website. And you'll find that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are behind every website on the internet, and you can get a sneak peek at the source code by checking out the source code directly within your browser. If you want to pause the video, go over to your internet and check out the source code of your favorite websites. You can do that now, and I'll walk you through that coming up as well. And this is an example of a very simple website that we're going to go and click and see the source code. And this is what HTML is. So HTML is a way of presenting web content in a structured format that's more readable and that the browsers interpret, display for the user within the browser window. And that's what we see here. So it translates this code that's coming from the server sitting at this web address, and it shows you within your browser the structured code. Now that you've seen some HTML, how do we create HTML? And we need an editor in order to do that. There's online editors that you don't have to download, and you can simply go over to the website, such as Codepen, and go and create and write some HTML and see it rendered out within the display area. As well, you can go to download editors, and there's a number of different editors, and more than likely you already have application on your computer right now that can write HTML code. The editor that I'm going to be using in the upcoming lessons is available at brackets.io. So let's first take a look at Codepen. So Codepen.io is one way that you can write code without having to download anything. You do need to have an internet connection, and you can write your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code and then see it being output within the display area. I'll give you a quick example. So we're just writing a simple heading tag that's going to say hello as H1, and then you can see it being displayed down here in the bottom window. You also have some options to change the view where you can have the code on the left-hand side or the code on the right-hand side, and then the display area. There's a quick exercise that you can do. You can pause the video here and try this out as well. So go over to your favorite website or go over to the website that I was showing you, copy, paste the HTML code from the source code, and paste it into the HTML part of Codepen's editor, and see what happens, rendered out within the display area of Codepen.io. So this is an example of how we create HTML pages and how HTML code works using HTML code. In the upcoming lessons, we are going to be using an editor. So that means that this editor is going to be running locally on our computer, and it's going to allow us to do the same thing that we were doing here within Codepen, but it's going to allow us to do it locally on our machine. Now, there are a lot of editors out there, and the one that I'm using in the upcoming lessons is Brackets. It's a free open source editor. It's an Adobe product. And it's a pretty good editor. So if you are looking to use the same editor that I'm using, then you can go over to brackets.io and download the free editor and install it on your machine. And alternatively, if you don't want to download the editor, then you can simply follow along the lessons using Codepen and trying out the HTML code and seeing it displayed and rendered out within the display area. Codepen, you can sign up for a free account, and that's going to allow you to save the various projects and the various files that you're working on within the Codepen website, so you can always reference them later on. You can use either method, either the downloaded editor and writing HTML files directly on your local machine, or you can use Codepen or any other online editor. So whichever way you choose, just try to practice the code and become more familiar with the HTML code as you go through the lessons. So now I'll walk you through a quick setup of brackets. So going over to brackets.io if you need to download it, and that opens up the brackets editor. So this is my brackets editor opened up to full screen, and I don't have any files created yet. So let's go ahead and create a new file. In order to create a new file, just hit File. Hit a folder first on your system that you want to save to, and then open it up to that folder. And then once you're in the folder, click New and create a new file. And simply save this file. So just do a save as, and save this file as index.html. And this will serve as the place where we can write the files locally, and you can practice your HTML skills as you go through the lesson. In order to view this file, I'm going to minimize this, and we'll copy the HTML code that we just saw from the source of that website. So I'm going to just grab the website, and you can go to any website and copy the source code, go back into your brackets editor, paste it, hit save. And now in order to run the code, this is once again front-end code, so it's HTML, CSS, JavaScript. This is all front-end code. So what you need in order to run the code is simply a browser, and you probably already have a browser since you're watching this course installed on your system. So go over to the folder that you created and look for the index.html file that you just created. Select the file and open it with a browser. So I'm on a Mac. You can do the same thing with the Windows machine. Just locate the folder that you've got the file in and open it up in your favorite browser. And that's going to open up the file, and you're going to see that it gets rendered out and it's viewable directly within your browser. And you'll also notice that it's got a local address. So wherever your file is located, so mine happens to be within all of these folders and directories, that's what you're going to see within the browser URL. Brackets does have a feature to go as HTTP. So this is an option, and this is an option with brackets. You can go under File and hit Live Preview, and this is going to open up as an HTTP website. And this is just running on your local, and there's the local IP address of your own computer. So this is still running on your own computer, but it's running within the HTTP protocol as opposed to the file protocol, which is slightly different. But for the purposes of the upcoming lessons, you can use either one in order to run your HTML code, because it's going to render out the same way. So go ahead, try this out, and either way that you're using, either method that you're planning to use in order to write HTML code, copy paste some HTML code and view it rendered out within the browser. And I'm going to be going through what all of these tags mean and how to write your own HTML code throughout the upcoming lessons.